I got one of those clappers for my dad to turn his lamp on and off because it's like just a little bit too far.
That's what we're talking about.
Recliner. But
that's
now,
the ad that they used to play all the time.
Well, I got Daniel one when we first got married because he was saying he wanted one. But the damn thing, you had to literally
you gotta clap really hard
to get it to do it.
My dad's will turn on when the recliner makes a noise. So instead of clap, because now it takes too long to clap because it either hears it or doesn't, and it'll mess up. Sometimes if you clap from upstairs, it'll catch it, but not if you're next to it. And so instead of clapping, he just wiggles the lever on his recliner now, and it turns it on.
Why don't you just attach it to like an Alexa thing, and he goes, Alexa, turn the light off.
Because he's got it all figured out now. He's got his recliner and his clapper. Life is easy. Life is easy in the Murphy house.
1, 2, 3, go.
Jennifer Hardy, har har.
Believe it or not.
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Show.
The Lawyer Dana Podcast.
Wow, we have a lot to talk about.
And we're going to do it right after this.
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Podcast.
Might be a dumb question, but are they in the same group as Adam Sandler?
No.
They don't do stuff together?
I'm ish. So Ronnie Dangerfield is kind of the generation before that.
Chevy Chase group.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ronnie got away from comedy, actually from 30 until from his early 20s. He originally went under the name Jack Roy, and his dad was in vaudeville or something, and he wanted to be in comedy, and he just never really got any kind of a break as Jack Roy. And then he got out of it for 10 years or maybe 15 years. And he started when he was late 30s or mid 40s or something. And he kind of always was unhappy and resented that. And he got out of comedy because he got married and wound up getting divorced from that woman. And he was selling vinyl siding, aluminum siding. And there was one day where he had taped the Tonight Show and then went out and was selling somebody some siding. And at the time that the show come on, he goes in the house and he goes, "Hey, could you maybe turn on the Tonight Show? Do you mind if I borrow your TV and watch something on the Tonight Show real quick?" And he was thought it was weird. He was okay, and let him do it. And then he's on the guesting on the Tonight Show. And then he didn't do it very much longer after that. It was one of his first things. And he also, at one point, he was on the outs with Johnny Carson for a while. And he said something about Johnny Carson. I forget the details, but you can YouTube this. And Johnny wouldn't let him on the show. And then Johnny comes and sees him and happens to see him at a comedy club. And Rodney has the opportunity to walk up to him and says, I'm sorry. And then Johnny has him on again, immediately thereafter, and he was Johnny's top guest for years. And if you've ever seen his routines on Johnny Carson, I mean, he slays it for 3 or 4 minutes and stand up, and then he goes and sits down next to Johnny and just keeps slaying it again. And because he's got both parts prepared, and he's there, and it's absolutely hilarious.
So have you ever seen Marvelous Miss Maisel?
Yes. I've seen them all, and they're great.
They're great. Have you seen it? Okay, this is not something old.
But it's more of a drama. The comedy there.
Years. I'm just realizing I don't watch a lot of TV.
The comedy there is okay, but
I think she's pretty funny.
It's fine, but you can tell okay, the audience is laughing, it's produced.
Yeah.
As opposed to, but it's a great show. That is really, really a good show too. I'm looking forward to the next season and episode of that. Alex Borstein. But she's the voice.
An R in there somewhere.
She's the voice of Lois on Family Guy. She stars in that show.
Nice.
And it's hilarious. She used to be on Mad TV, I think.
I've seen her in a few things. I just can't remember any of them. I remember her with babies on her chest.
What?
In a carrier, a baby Bjorn. She's got
okay.
2 kids. That's just the only scene I remember. I don't remember what TV show it's from.
Was that Marvelous? No, it had to be something different.
I haven't seen that.
No.
It was a.
She has
ABC
2 kids
Family
in that
or something.
show, but they're one's 6-year-old or something, and she has a daughter. So they're always talking about the daughter, and she is her forehead too big? And the grandma's always I think her forehead's getting bigger. Like they're always like looking at the little baby, like stuff's wrong with her and critiquing her, but they're just really big on their appearance. Like they have this routine where they measure their ankles and their calves and like every piece of their body and write it down like daily.
What?
Yeah, didn't you?
That is
watch that
OCD.
in the movie?
What movie?
And the TV show? Yeah, it's
The Marvelous Miss Mabel?
yeah. And that at night with their husband, they don't go to bed until their husbands are like asleep, and then they will go wash
Oh,
their
yeah.
face and
I
take
saw it.
their makeup off
Yeah.
and put their hair
I
up
did. I
and
remember that.
put their mask on.
I don't.
And
When
then
I
they
watch
wake up
TV,
earlier,
I pay
get
marginal
all
attention
ready,
to it.
and then they act like they just like get back in bed, and then whenever it's time to wake up, they're like, huh? Like they're just like
Oh my god.
brush their teeth and everything. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Dang,
That is hilarious.
I couldn't be like that.
I'm not losing sleep for that.
Too much routine.
Just remember on my face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's welcome to the Back to School Lawyer Dana podcast.
I know.
The Lawyer Dana Back to School podcast.
There you go.
Maybe we should hold this episode until school starts again.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Should we?
let me watch it and then bring me back right before school starts.
Before school starts? Okay. So we'll do another. Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
when school actually starts,
Yeah.
then
We'll
you'll
do
come back
to
and
school.
we'll
I'll
talk
come
about
and
back
tell
to
you all
school.
about it.
Yeah, because spoiler alert, we're really up on the modern movies, like Back to School from the mid 80s.
Well, you saw Top Gun last night.
I did see Top Gun last night, and that
I
movie
really
is
wanted to see
pure American cheese, but it's delicious.
Nice.
It was fun to watch it. It was actually fun to watch it in a theater, and it was fun to watch it in a theater with a lot of people.
I want to see it.
And they like
Yeah,
push
I'm gonna
all
make
the
my
same
sister
buttons,
now.
and they, you know what? But I got to give them credit for that type of movie. Like is this a remake or is this a sequel? As compared to like how they did with the Star Wars, the 7, 8, 9 episodes, which were garbage. Top Gun, they did a great job. That's the way you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the hero's journey. They didn't take away anything from anybody. Even with the Val Kilmer scene, it was like really, really well done. It was all honorable. Everything about it was honorable. There was a minuscule, if any, amount of wokeness that I wouldn't even, which was fine. But they didn't like beat you over the head with something ridiculous or like,
I grew up
it was fine.
in love with Tom Cruise as a kid.
You'll still be in love with him if you see
I
it.
thought
Go see
he
it.
was like the hottest being alive growing up.
He's a pretty
like,
attractive guy even
oh
now.
my gosh. Like from Risky Business,
And they
Cocktail. Oh yeah.
the work
Cocktail
that he
was
puts
like-
into that every actor role, but like he was really in those planes and he probably was really flying them.
They said
He really
He
flew.
does all his own.
They said he
stunts.
did.
Yeah,
fly
and
him.
he flew the helicopters in Mission Impossible, the latest Mission Impossible. That was incredible. And at a certain point, and did Henry Cavill also fly the helicopter or no?
That I don't know, but I do know every actor for Top Gun had to learn how to do it. They all flew. They all did.
It's, I mean, incredible. And there was one part, if you hear some interviews with Tom Cruise about those helicopters from Mission Impossible, he was like, if you had any idea how close my blades were to yours, and how close I was and what I was actually doing, how dangerous that really was, you wouldn't have done it.
Dang. I wouldn't want to know that afterwards.
Did you see him?
No.
Did you see in that same movie he broke? Did you see the ankle break?
I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, where he jumps.
God, yeah,
Yeah,
like
I've seen it.
he actually almost falls off and pulls himself up and still runs on it away. And they said he was going to be out for like this immense amount of time, and in a you've got to be kidding me amount of time he was back and like doing it. The guy is as close to like a human superhero as you can get with besides like guys in our military and things, like he's in the top 1% of the top 1%.
Well, it surprises me from the movies he did from the 80s, and you look
Yeah.
at what he does now. It's like
Well, did you see the one? There was a Mission Impossible where he was finger climbing and hanging on his own,
On that tall.
and all he had
building?
was one safety wire that they CG'd out. He was really doing that, and the
On
director.
that tall building.
Oh, he did that too, and he also was on the plane. That was not CG. He was actually on that
Ugh.
airplane when he was
Crazy.
holding on at that one point. And no, I'm talking about the one where he was climbing up the cliff upside down.
I
And-
haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And apparently the director was flipping out.
Yeah, that one's up by 2. Mission Impossible 2.
Is
The
that
opening scene
number
up by 2.
Yeah, it was one of the earlier ones. He was at least probably 20 years younger, 15 or 20 years
Let's
younger.
have no fear for death.
No,
I mean,
no doubt.
live your best life. He's got fame and fortune, and you can do a lot with that.
When you sold your soul to Satan, you can kind of do a little bit of anything.
That's true.
But I mean, and the acting in Top Gun, like everything is that like happy. Like I actually, it's nice to watch. It was all really.
I was kind of surprised I didn't have Meg Ryan come back.
I
I just thought like she'd be back as like this is kind of what I
maybe
had-
she turned it down. I don't know.
I kind of envision. No, I don't. They didn't even offer it to her.
Really?
I kind of envision like this is what I thought.
Jennifer
would happen.
Connelly was in it and did a great job.
Yeah, this is what I thought would happen. Her and Tom Cruise would get into heated argument because her son's going to get into Top Gun, and so she's like mad, and she's mad at Maverick. You know, Goose died, and now you're letting my kid do this.
You want me to tell you what it actually is? I don't think it's a spoiler.
No, I don't want to know nothing.
Do you have to have seen the first one to understand the second one?
No, if you see the second one, you've seen the first one.
Oh, okay.
The first one's really good though.
I haven't watched it.
It's a lot of
My
nostalgia.
mom loves it.
Oh yeah,
There's a
it's
lot of
good.
nostalgia,
It's
Okay.
good.
but they did it such a better job than Star Wars did. I mean, it's so different, and they kept Tom Cruise as an awesome, great hero instead of taking like Luke Skywalker and turning him into a loser. I mean, like, and I get he was supposed to be playing it up like Yoda did, as if he wasn't awesome. But I don't know. It didn't really play.
Is that the ones with Ray in it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't like that.
they missed. They
You
kind of
like-
set up episode 7. They
You
could have
didn't
done
like
something
Ray?
with. And I did. I loved it.
Uh huh.
But episode 8 just like took a giant steamy crap on all of everything.
Is that
It's
the one where
Kathleen
Luke
Kennedy's
dies?
fault, and they call him Ruin Johnson. His name is Rian, Ryan. He had no direction. He tried to be subversive about it, and just like it was just wrong in every possible aspect that you can have. And then episode 9, they tried to retcon and kind of get it back, and they just didn't. And then they're going from like, now they have this new big Death Star over here, and then they've got this new big thing. It just missed. It just missed. They could have done so much better, and they're doing a lot better with like the TV series. And Obi-Wan came out today, and
It is
hopefully
out.
they do a great job with that. If you screw that up, how can you screw that up?
Deborah Chow's directing all those, and she's a disciple of Jon Favreau and
Nice.
Dave Filoni, so
Good.
she's not messing with it.
Because there was a couple of things. It was actually basically the woke stuff in Boba Fett that
You like Star
crapped
Wars.
on Boba Fett. Like, you really think on Tatooine people have shiny
I mean,
red
most of all.
motorbikes to get
Oh.
shot and
Not
just
like-
they jumped the shark. They literally
Yeah,
jumped the
it's an
shark
airplane.
with those 4 like motorbikes that these, like they start out like, are they homeless
The
little
mods.
thieves or whatever, and then like, oh no, they've got these great, on Tatooine where nobody has anything and they're trying to survive. They don't even have water. It's like,
Yeah,
what are we watching?
yeah, I could see that.
So anyway, I digress. Are we going to talk about any law stuff, or I don't care if we can make this whole podcast about not talk about marriage, healthy marriage. Don't take Sam
Don't get
Kinnison's
married
advice.
was the consensus.
I think that was Sam
Yeah.
Kinnison's advice. Is
Yeah, don't get
don't
married.
don't get married.
Don't get married if that's like you're doing it for fun. Like
You should marry intentionally.
already and stuff
You should
like that.
screen out everyone who is bad for you and then pick your favorite from who is left over. It's not about finding a soulmate. There's plenty of people that you can have great relationships with. You need to find somebody that has the same values that you have, and then you can have a long-term relationship. because relationships are all work, no matter how you feel about it, no matter what you think. And especially if you're young, if you're under 30, what you think that marriage is wrong. It's not. You realize in your 30s and 40s, it's a whole different thing. And you become wiser about it.
Well, Bridget's single. How is the dating scene these days?
It's something. Yeah. It's different for everybody. It depends on what you're looking for, I guess. Everything is.
So, Bridget, tell us, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking for anything. I just.
Inquiring minds want to know.
If I meet somebody and I
wanna know.
like them and I get along, then we'll go from there and see what happens. But I'm not like looking for anybody.
You should
or
get on
anything.
eHarmony.
No, I don't want to waste. See, because I don't want to I work too much. I'm just kidding.
That's why you should be on eHarmony. Let them look for you, and you get a match and take a look. And if it seems interesting, great. If not, you wait.
I mean, I use
eHarmony
Tinder
takes time.
for the thing.
Tinder.
You know,
Swipe.
Tinder's good.
Do not use Tinder.
Tinder works. Oh, you're handsome. Cool. Let's
That's the worst thing to pick on first.
see what happens.
That is the worst. You need to pick on values
Oh,
first,
of course.
and then you pick your favorite and who you like and all that after you've screened out the people who have bad values for you. If you're only looking at a picture first, you are dooming yourself to a worse relationship. It's a statistical fact.
Well, it's not everything, but it matters. Like if I saw two
I
people
know it
at a
matters.
bar
But
and I was like, oh, that one's more handsome than that one, I would pick the more handsome
so let's say you're
one.
right. You'd pick the more handsome one, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're picking on looks first, but the handsome one is a piece of crap, and the other one would be somebody that you would absolutely actually fall in love with for the rest of your life and have a great relationship with.
Sure.
And a lot of it is just how they happen to look there. And in 5 years, the handsome one who is a piece of crap looks like hell, and the other one actually is aging and getting more attractive over time. Like, which one would you rather have? And and that's the problem with picking on looks first. Looks is the last thing you should pick for, and I mean that intentionally. It's the last thing. You should screen out based on values. And what eHarmony does is won't introduce you to the guy who you won't be able to physically resist, who's bad for you. They won't introduce you because they match on personality, and the in-depth personality test is they match on values, not interests. Like Summer and I had not one single common interest, except we seem to like watching movies. And watching movies and watching TV was our only actual common interest in certain shows that we liked. Otherwise, I liked rock and roll. She liked country. I liked classical music. She liked, I don't know, country. And I wasn't into country until after we got married. And she wasn't into classical music or rock and roll or any of a number of things until after we got married. I didn't like NASCAR until after we got married, and she introduced me to all these different interests that she had. But our values we took personality tests in church, and they said you're the highest values match that we've ever had. We were in 10 categories: 100, 100, 100, like 90, 100, 100, 90, 180, 90, 100. Mm-hmm. And we had one that was 80, and it was because her parents had gotten a divorce and mine didn't. And this was like 1 in 10 in 10 different categories. So we were like a 96 or something. Or 90, 95, 96, and they're like, we never have this. And so they were like, well, most people don't even have 8s, or some people don't even have an 8, but I guess since that's your lowest one, that's the one we'll talk about. They're like, didn't you know how to counsel us? Like, you guys aren't going to have any problems, but I mean, we did, but most of it caused by the law firm. But you match on values, and then out of the people that eHarmony shows you, then look on looks from there. And if there's not anybody, you're done. There's not somebody that's a good match for you yet. Like, stay on eHarmony, give eHarmony 3 to 5 years. I'm not kidding.
Lord.
In order for you to find somebody that you're going to be with for 50, you don't want to invest 10% of your time waiting for the right and a good person with that?
Maybe not on the computer.
How long are you on eHarmony?
I was on for a year and a half.
Okay, so
Summer was on for a week or a month or 3 months or something.
Okay, so
like
3 to 5 years.
Yeah, nobody's going to sit on an app for 3 to 5 years just waiting for something.
Some people do, and it works. have patience with it. However long it takes you, let it play out. But eHarmony is absolutely, because
so how many dates did you go on on eHarmony?
like 10,
10
with Summer or
No.
before Summer?
before Summer.
like other people.
Yeah.
One, I went out with a psychiatrist or psychologist or something. And it was the worst date that I've ever been on in my life. She was like psychoanalyzing me. No kidding. She's like asking me all these questions like, well, what about your brother and your parents and like this? And like, it was so uncomfortable and weird. And I like, but for whatever reason, I like bought into it and was going, and it was like, it was
just getting to know you, Dana.
It was an insane, and I think it lasted like 90 minutes in like a coffee shop or something.
And then you walked out going, what the
It
heck
was
is
the
happening?
most insane experience I think I've ever had.
Wow.
It's just crazy. And
So out of the 10 before Summer, was there anybody that you showed interest in or that you dated a little bit?
no.
No. But eHarmony matched you up with them.
And eHarmony actually matched me up with somebody who got on the Real Housewives of Dallas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very wealthy and very influential person, and did like that. And I wasn't interested. And I kind of feel bad because I showed up to something that she was doing, and I think I was late, and just didn't work. So.
Well, Tinder's certainly not giving you personality.
And I really only,
So.
yeah, and that's the worst thing. Like if
But I mean, most people
if you're
aren't
trying to have
using Tinder,
sex,
like,
if you're Tinder is
there you go.
to find somebody to have sex with, and not have a relationship with, which is really dangerous because you can wind up getting in a relationship with somebody who's real bad for you, and you shouldn't do that.
Wait, but I don't think that's a result of Tinder. I think that's
It is a result
life.
of Tinder.
Like you could meet someone at a bar that gets along well for 6 months and then you hate each other.
Yeah, you shouldn't be meeting people at bars either.
Okay, you can meet somebody anywhere. You can meet them on a walk with their
meet-
dog, and then
that's
they
true.
cut you up 10
That's
months
true.
later.
But meeting somebody in a bar,
we can play this game.
meeting somebody in a bar versus meeting somebody who's walking their dog, actually is a screening mechanism, and you'd do better to go out with somebody who was walking their dog than who you met at a bar. How many divorces do you see that are results of alcoholism?
Well, that was one example.
I know, but it's an important example, and it's an actual thing. And what Tinder is the problems that are associated with meeting somebody at a bar multiplied by 1,000. It's exponential. It's cubically problematic. Because you walk into a bar, how many people are in there? 10? On Tinder, there's a million. And there's nothing about them. And you're going to have a real hard time. All you're doing is trying to physically match. And physically match, I didn't even think I was physically matched to Summer. I happen to like kind of be friends and like, hey, I guess I have a little bit of faith in eHarmony or whatever, and they matched up. But I wasn't interested in Summer on our first date. And in fact, Summer and I went on like 2 dates, maybe 3, and just like kind of like as friends. And on one of them, I was clearly trying to friend zone her and like break up with her or go whatever. And at one point, and I saw it on this massive disappointment. The disappointment on my face when like, remember when I was like, hey, like you guys we should do this like all the time or whatever, and you like had a different idea, and I was okay with that, but you were like, I saw on your face like this disappointment that came over. I saw that on Summer's face. In fact, when you told me that,
Well, yeah.
you reminded me of that moment that I saw that on Summer. Yeah, and I.
Of
But-
course, she's gonna be disappointed if you're sitting on her 3rd date and you're trying to friend zone her.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go on a 3rd date with someone
Well,
I thought
and we
was
kind of
trying
like
to friend
kept
zone
in
me.
touch, but I think both of us like were dating other people in between, and then like we happen to like go out, and I am not sure, and I hesitate to ask, but I may have asked Summer to marry me, and she might have been like had another offer. Because I think she had like a couple of other guys. Like there was this one guy that like wrote her something of like, it was like this sob story, and I was like, kind of almost feel bad for him. I mean, I don't. It is what it is. But yeah, it was and it wasn't until like I realized like after we were friends. Like Summer and I got married because we were really good friends, and then we took it to the next level and got married. We actually did everything right, which is probably why we have a healthy marriage. And she was very different than the way that I felt with a lot of other people, because I was just like all about the looks, and I'd get all wrapped up and infatuated, and that is not even close to the same league as good as my relationship is with Summer. Summer is the best. She is awesome. She is amazing, and we have the most amazing relationship. But there's no anxiety or problem or any of that, and I'm zero worried that she's ever going to cheat on me, and vice versa. I have full confidence. Nothing that doesn't even enter my world. I feel really sorry for the people who have any kind of jealousy or whatever issues at all. Mm-hmm. But it also is because we're both value matched and we understand each other really well, and neither one of us are in any possible way interested in anybody else at all. Like you could put a whole room full of a whole lot of other people, like pick the best of the best, like give me Tinder's top 10 and parade them in naked, offering me whatever they want, bringing bags of money. I'm like, nope, thanks, appreciate it, flattering, you know. I'm flattered, I'm blushing, but yeah, no, not gonna happen. I love my wife. I don't cheat on my wife. You knew it was coming, didn't you, Rick?
I wasn't quite ready for that on the microphone side of things.
Yeah. That Bert Kreischer?
Kreischer. Yeah.
Kreischer. How do you say his name?
Kreischer.
Kreischer, I thought. Yeah, Bert Kreischer.
Oh,
but
Bert.
I don't want to cheat on my wife. I'm not tempted to cheat on my wife.
Glad.
Yeah, I know.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but you think guys that you meet on Tinder that are looking to hook up, like you're one of 20. You're one of any, like, who's for the next night? Who's for that? And then, I'm starting to wean out of the others, and like what? And like how do you get a guy or a girl to that you're going to have a good relationship with? And what are you going to base it on? We're going to be together because sex is really good.
I think you can get to know someone off Tinder or walking off a hike.
You can. I'm just telling you that that it is statistically and logistically not as good of a thing to do, because you have a much higher statistical percentage that you're going to get involved in somebody and you're going to get attached and you're going to like them and not want to let them go, when it's a relationship that's doomed and going to drag you down with it and be horrible and never have been worth it for the very, very short period of time at the very beginning where you enjoy sex and you like them. And then the rest of your life is miserable, or however the rest of the time, as opposed to eHarmony never would have introduced you to that person because there was somebody else that you missed out on that was really good for you, that you could have had a great life with. And you didn't value yourself or have enough confidence in yourself to not have the quick, easy hookup that seemed exciting at the time, but that you're selling out your future for this short term. The better ones, the longer term, the higher quality relationships are absolutely worth foregoing some hookups and having some patience and waiting to get something like Summer and I have. I know I've done both, unfortunately. And I don't recommend the other way.
All right.
What's the real truth?
To be clear, I do not have 20 men on Tinder. Just
I went on
background.
one internet date. And
now we get to the best
I've
part
been
of the
on a
podcast.
few. They're fun. I just like to go on dates. They're fun.
No.
I go on dates a couple times a month just
Well, that's
get
good.
out of my house because I don't ever
Awesome.
leave the house. But like I wouldn't get on eHarmony because I don't want to like waste other people's time because I'm not ready to like get married yet or like get into committed relationships. So
Why don't you? Well,
a little bit
that's
different.
legit.
Yeah.
I went
But
on
my
a
suggestion
date.
would be get in there and then see, because maybe you meet someone and then you're like, because
You never know,
you're
though.
never going to be.
I'm not like opposed to it. I'm just not like looking.
You're never going to be
I'm-
necessily ready, and the
That's
best.
the best
That's the
time
best
to meet
time.
somebody.
Because if you're not looking, you'll be able to pick out the good person for like, because you're not desperate. Most people get desperate and they're lonely. They're desperate. They're
Are they ready to settle
insecure.
down, or-
They don't have a good self-esteem, and anybody who pays them the attention, they like, I guess, and they settle,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't. It's not a good thing to do.
I did just tell Braxton McKenna that I should join Match.com so we could do an
No.
experiment.
Don't do Match.
I
Do
did.
Aren't they the
eHarmony.
same?
I did
No.
match.
No, Match, you fill out a little bit of a personality
I
thing,
did Match.
and it has a picture there, and it says, "Oh, by the way, here's how compatible you are." No, they'll still show you everybody, and you might find this beautiful Satan worshiper, and you're a Christian, and it's never going to work. But you can't resist each other.
My brother met his wife on eHarmony, and she took our niece away from us.
So that's a great point. You still have to have all the
She's
normal
crazy.
cautions, and that still does happen on eHarmony.
Right.
But the problem is, the thing is that when you screen out and only take from a category that statistically you're likely to have a great relationship with, you're going to have great ones and you're going to have bad ones. You still have to use all the same discernment and wisdom on how you pick and choose them, but just picking from the superior group that's better for your personality versus picking from the general population and this one magnified group of taste that an attraction that you like, because a lot of people are attracted to people who they definitely have no chance of having a good relationship with. And what eHarmony does is never introduces you to people that you're going to statistically have a bad relationship with. So it's not saying that you're going to have a great relationship. It's just, if you look at the statistical averages, like you have a much better chance that you're going to have a healthy and long-term relationship because you're in it with somebody that is better suited for you and that you're better suited for to go down that journey without it blowing up. Does that journey still sometimes blow up? Absolutely it does. But it's just like when we pick a jury. The way that we pick a jury is we get the first one. We get the first 12. Except we get to ask them questions. Mm-hmm. And we get to exclude 3 for any reason that we want. And so when we ask them questions, we're asking them questions to determine who is bad for us. And if we screen out everybody who is bad for us, then by default, everybody who is left over is good for us. That's literally how we pick a jury. And we get to ask them questions that will get them to screen themselves out of the pool. Meaning, here's my client. If they walked in and they go, how many of y'all looked at my client and think, just because they're accused of something, that they must have done it? They raise their hand. Okay. And Miss Jones, you believe that if somebody is accused, that they must be guilty because they were accused. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been accused because you trust the police, right? Yes. All right. Who else feels like Miss Jones? And they raise their hand. And you go, Miss Jones, there's nothing that I'm going to say or that the opposing counsel is going to say or that this judge is going to say that's going to change your firmly held beliefs, correct? The one that because you just got sworn in to tell the truth, and what you just told us is the truth, and there's nothing that anybody's going to say that's going to change your opinion of that, right? And she says, right. She has just deselected herself off of our jury. She got struck for cause because she prejudged our client without hearing any evidence. And if the judge lets her in or tries to rehab her, I have grounds for a mistrial. So that person leaves her cause. And you try and strike everybody out of there. If you got 100 people in there, and you're thinking, there might be 10 people in here that are not that are good for us, you got to get rid of the other 90 that are bad for you. And then you have a shot with those 10. That's what eHarmony is doing. It's getting rid of the 90 that are definitely bad for you. The only type of screening that Match.com does for you or Tinder does is maybe gender. Like, I'm looking for
Not
men.
even now. I think you can put other on there now.
Right. So, but eHarmony is going to, it's going to match you.
It's for
based on the things that you think are important. Like your partner is going to also think is important. Otherwise, you're going to fight about it. So why, even though I would have such a lovely, and they're so hot, and I can fantasize and think how great life would be, and they're just so beautiful, and you dream of all these great things that you're going to have. You're also going to have nothing but fights. You're going to stop having sex with them after a while because you can't get past all the fighting, and it turns from a dream to a nightmare really quickly. Why? Because you don't have the same values and things. So everything turns into an argument. Whereas eHarmony is not going to introduce you to those people. So in having values and matching on values, yeah, you can still have problems in marriage, but you have a whole lot better chance, because I'll tell you this, how many Tinder divorces and Match.com divorces do we have versus how many eHarmony divorces do we have? Your brother is the only one that I've ever heard of out of the thousands that we have done.
Well, they're not divorced, so I guess it worked for them.
But
She's crazy. Yeah,
well, sometimes people can go crazy. And the other thing is sometimes people can lie on eHarmony. They can answer what they think that it is, but they're not really knowing themselves or not really answering honestly. They can lie on it. So you still have to go in there and use your judgment and discern, and you're essentially interviewing. And again, you're screening people out. You're screening out the bad person.
Questions on eHarmony.
Yeah, they do.
It's probably like 100 questions.
At least.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it takes a few minutes, and you want to do it at a time where you're
I
calm.
was filling it out, and I was
Really?
like, "This is too much." I got it out of it.
It's worth it, though. It is absolutely worth it.
We'll see.
So, and because the moment that you have information that somebody is not the right person for you, that is a gift to you. The gift is, great, you're not the right one. Move on, next. And you remove the wrong thing from your life, because if you have the wrong thing in the position, then the blessing that God really has for you has no place. You have to remove the thing that's wrong to put the right thing in it, in your life. So with that,
noted.
Apparently we just did a 40-minute long commercial for eHarmony. But eHarmony is great. eHarmony.com. Maybe we can get a referral link on this. But that said, like and subscribe, and
Like our page.
we will see you on the next episode of the Lawyer Dana Podcast.
The Lawyer Dana Podcast.